Peace and greetings. Today we'll go over the prehistoric Asiatics, who scores of thousands of years ago came across on the sunken Pacific continent and built the pyramids and colossal ruins of South and Central America, which we also know as North America. First, I want to go ahead and go over what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. From the Holy Prophet, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. 7. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even into the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico, with the Atlantis Islands before the Great Earthquake, which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. First, we'll go over the images and the descriptions that's on the image for those that have short attention spans, and then we'll go through the article for those that, study. A colossal figure squatting like the Egyptian Sphinx discovered in Yucatan. Its similarity to Egyptian works of the kind has long been a puzzle to science. A prehistoric Terra Celt's head from Veracruz, Mexico, which we know who the original Celts was, which was the Moors, which has the oblique eyes and other characteristics of the Chinese. But first it has the characteristics of a Moor. A gigantic prehistoric structure at Yucatan, which is a combination of the Egyptian pyramid and the Chinese pagoda forms. Above it is a Chinese building strikingly and strangely similar in its circling terrace. Was there in far distant prehistoric times a vast continent where now is the Pacific Ocean, a continent covered with great forests, threaded by deep rivers, studded with tremendous mountain peaks, and dotted over with stone cities, the homes of the people of this lost land. Professor William A. Bryan, who holds the chair of zoology and geology in the College of Hawaii, believes he has found evidence of the existence of such a continent in the shape of little freshwater mollusks, which he discovered on the island of Juan Fernandez just off the west coast of South America. Juan Fernandez is the island made famous by Robinson Crusoe. That worthy was never more surprised to see the footprint in the sands than Professor Bryan was to see these mollusks. They closely resembled species found upon Hawaii, but how had they crossed the thousands of miles of sea between the two places? The islands of the South Pacific are, of course, but the summits of submerged mountains. If such a bridge is proved, one of the most baffling mysteries of the world will be in a fair way of being solved, the riddle of the pyramids and ruins, both of Central America and South America. So like those of Egypt, their legends so like the Northern African and Asiatic, and a civilization with such striking similarities to that of Asia that it has seemed impossible not to have been in some manner connected with it. The continental mass, if existed, probably ran from southeastern Asia, taking in Australia, New Zealand, Java, and a portion of what is now the Malay. It extended further north than the Hawaiian Islands. It is possible that at the time there were no Andes Mountains. The subsidence which carried this lost land beneath the waters of the Pacific at the same time raised the great western South American mountain chain, and perhaps our own Rockies. The subsidence was gradual. Even after the mainland mass disappeared, it is probable that a tremendous bridge extended for a time clear across the ocean. The United States hydrographic chart shows a strip of shallow water still running all the way from Hawaii to Midway Islands. There, southwest to the Marshall Islands, west to the Caroline Islands, and the southwest again to the Malay. There is evidence also of ancient shallows from Hawaii southeast all the way to the lower coast of South America. And taking in the island of Juan Fernandez, still another shelf runs eastward across lower Polynesia. It may have been that on the submerged continent originated both the Asian and the South and Central American civilization, that the same human stock, fleeing from the cataclysm, was split, developing through the ages on opposite sides of the dividing waters. But it is more likely that human stocks originating in Asia made their way in latter times over the still existent bridge or bridges. For lack of a better theory, it has long been accepted that the New World was originally peopled by Asiatics who crossed by way of Bering Strait, the strait being only 40 miles wide and frozen over in winter. Diversified and remarkable are the correspondences existing between the architectural and sculptural remains of Middle America and those of Southeastern Asia. In both regions, the chief structures of the ancient cities are pyramids, ascended by 4 steep stairways of stone bordered by serpent balustrades and surmounted by templates. The snouted mask of the Maya sculptures have an insinuating way of suggesting the trunk of the elephant, and the upturned jaw of the mythical serpent is equally reminiscent of the treatment of the cobra jaw in the Far East. Now, as you can see, the Europeans, they was finding this evidence, trying to put it all together. Meanwhile, Noble Drew Ali already had it. So we can just fin this here, and if you want the link to this newspaper article, just message me and I'll send it to you. You know what I'm saying? But peace and love, tracing the ancient bridge across the Pacific Ocean.